This video is on separating government authority into 30 sectors. So what do I mean by that? We want to have a division of power and authority, not just in the executive, legislative, and judicial branch. We want to have each one of those three branches of government, in 30 different sectors of government. We want to have all the different things that government does separated off. I'll go through all 30 of them real quick. No one person can be in charge of more than one sector. Obviously, they're going to be related to each other to some degree, but the person in charge, the executive, the legislative branch, the judicial branch, they will all be in one sector, one of the 30 sectors. Let's go through them all. You see them all on the screen right now. I'm going to put them up so you can see them a little bit better, and we'll go through it. But a couple more points. There's a CRA sector board, monopolized board, over everything, and they only have power when they reach a 70% threshold, saying that one of the competitive governance are going too far and causing negative externalities. And there's a rating system per sector. So all 30 sectors have their own rating systems. And again, we're going to go through what a sector is, just military or education and stuff like that. Every person and business must become a member of a competitive governance. CRA is Competitive Regulatory Agency, which is a competitive governance, and an RA, rating agency, in all 30 sectors. That's going to allow all the things that are currently done in government right now to be done more in a free enterprise way. So we're not adding to government. We're splitting government up into 30 sectors, going competitive governance with a rating system, allowing a lot more experimentation, a lot more liberty and freedom, but also limiting that freedom to not cause negative externalities, so we can have society. Somebody's freedom to swing their fist stops. That freedom stops when it hits my face or whatever. That kind of thing. So pollution, you can pollute to a certain degree, and then it has to stop because you're causing negative externality, and your competitive governance has to enforce that, so we can have society. So there's not fights. Okay, 30 sectors. We're going to have 5 in the charity system. We get rid of welfare altogether. We go to a charities. They're just the flat out charities doing the charity. But we have a funding mechanism for the charities where everybody has to contribute to. That's Charitable Distribution Association. Then we have the caseworkers, the charitable assessor organizations. We have family law, and then religion. We don't regulate religion. They're there to fight for religious freedoms. That's kind of a different type of sector and governance there, more fighting for religious freedom. Foreign protection system, these are the diplomats, the commander-in-chief of the military itself in a more free enterprise way. The funding mechanism for the military, they get sales tax, 5% of GDP, and then military authorization agency, they are the ones that authorize somebody to use military force. Not the commander-in-chief. They authorize somebody to even have military power, to be the commander-in-chief, to be the diplomats, to be anybody with inherent government power. They authorize there. The violent crime mitigation system. These are law and order type of systems there. Violent crime. What is a violent crime? They define what violent crimes are. Law enforcement, the police officers, the sheriffs, and the like. Authorization, LEA, they authorize anybody with a badge, anybody with an inherent power. They have to get approval from this organization, which is representative, elected or really selected, and then use their representatives to give that authorization. Judicial authority, the courts, the prison and corrections, anybody who has to go to prison or probation, they go through this sector. There's a funding mechanism for that. Then the assorted other sectors. We got 2 in healthcare, one for healthcare itself, and then another one separate for medicine and healthcare durable goods, the equipment and the like. We got banking and financial. So we separate those because it's such a big sector. We don't want to connect those two. They can work together well, but we want those to be separate. Insurance is going to be big. And insurance is where we also ensure that somebody does not become a burden on society as they become elderly by being impoverished. So the insurance is going to take care of like Social Security. We go to a very free enterprise, competitive Social Security, or competitive retirement systems to make sure that nobody's becoming a burden on society. Okay, food, any regulations dealing with food or anything that you ingest in your body, food wise, nutrition wise. Education, obviously, I want to go to a competitive school board where everybody selects their school board based off their educational philosophy, how they want to be educated, and the like. Manufacturing, there's a huge amount of regulations dealing with manufacturing. We're going to go competitive on that. Human resources and sales, these are sales taxes, anything dealing with buying and selling, those transactions and the like. That's where we're going to get a lot of the sales tax, income tax, other taxes is going to go through there, and HR. Anything that's in HR, in businesses, this is where those regulations are going to come from. And it's going to be competitive as well. Identity, personal and business, ID cards, record keeping, there's a lot to it, police records, there's a lot in there. So that's an important sector. I have videos on every one of these sectors throughout my website. I got full pages on these. Environmental, anything environmental out there, I have a separate sector for. Work safety and disability, that's going to be a lot of different things. If you don't see a part of government regulations, it's going to be in this one or the media and communication one, where we have freedom of speech, we have freedom of the press, we have that more than we currently do right now. But if you don't see the regulations in one of these 30 sectors, an area of regulation is going to be in either one of these two, work safety and disability or media and communication. Anything that you can think of is going to be probably falling in those two. Okay, transportation, dealing with roads, airlines, trains, anything transportation. And we're going to have competitive on that as well. Land and water, dealing with who owns what land, who owns what water, and how to deal with the ownership of land and water and some other issues. Now, obviously, they're going to have to work with the environmental, but it's a separate sector. So those are my 30 sectors. I have a lot of information on my website dealing with each one of the sectors and how it's done. Most of these, well, all of these are competitive governance system, and you're going to have to see how that works. There's a lot of videos on that. And again, anything you want to see is hit on haley2024.org. Until the next video.